Welcome back to Introduction to Engineering Design. This is Module 8.1. We're still putting together our button maker. And what I'm doing now is we've got the bottom two components inserted in it, the lower die assembly, and we've also got the base put on it already. So next up what we're going to do is we're going to put the top assemblies on, and that would be item D here and C, and then we'll put in a couple of last components. So D is the upper die subassembly. So let's go ahead and pull that into our model. Okay, the way that this fits is it has a movement up and down on the two guide pins. So what we'll do is we'll mate this so that we are concentric about the guide pins. On that first guide pin, I'm not going to lock the rotation. Actually, I will lock rotation because it doesn't really matter. It doesn't move back and forth, and that'll help to constrain it a little better. All right, so now this piece is locked in here, and it moves up and down. I've got to give it a little bit of a range here because it does move. So I'll leave that intentionally a little bit underdefined for right now. So we're going to go out and look at our design tree, and I know it gets fairly complex, so just bear with me. But if I come over here to the left, I was fully defined, and now I'm underdefined. So now you'll see that I'm underdefined right here on the upper die subassembly, and the reason is because I haven't limited its range up and down. Now I can give it a range limit mate here based upon the bottom right there to the top there, but we'll hold off on that for just a second until I get the other piece in here, the component, the subassembly C. So I'm going to insert subassembly C. And then I'm also going to insert this pin that goes across item 4, 3, and 4. So let's go ahead and look at that. That is the handle pivot pin. And I'll hold off on that for just 1 second, because the way that this mounts in here is the hole in the handle right here is concentric and mates to the hole in the upper die subassembly right there. And that orientation is appropriate here. And then I'm going to do a width mate. So I showed you this once before, and this is a advanced mate here. So we'll go ahead and take the advanced mate. Notice I did not lock rotation on it because I want it to move here. So I'm going to go do a width mate. I'm going to mate the inside edges of my blue handle to the outside edges of the upper die subassembly. Okay, now as I move this, you'll see that it rotates around. The next thing that I really want to do is I want to mate tangentially, and this is not an advanced mate, it is a standard mate, and I want tangent of that wheel to the upper die. So now as I rotate this, what I should get is a little bit of motion out of it, and it may or may not move appropriately depending on whether I unlock that or not. Alright, so now I've got my upper die handle in. And now I'm just going to do this the simplest way here. I'm going to go ahead and give it a slight range of motion that goes up and down from here to there. And I'll give it maybe a 1/4 inch of motion. So I've got a distance mate, advanced. My minimum is going to be 0. And I'll give it a maximum of, let's just call it 0.25 inches. I don't know specifically what that is, but that will work for this instance. Okay, that should have better defined our upper die. So now I've got that motion in here. And I'm also fully defined. So let's go ahead now and put through our pin. That is item 4. And the part number for that is 904. And then I'm going to go 903, which are the 2 small snap rings. .904 and 903. I'll choose them simultaneously. Open them. Insert them. This pin will mate through the hole. I'll lock the rotation. I'm going to center it up in the hole here. So I'll go to that advanced mate again, a width mate, and I'm going to go one end of the pin, other end of the pin, centered up between 2 sides of the blue handle, and accept that mate. And now I will take this pin, and I'm going to have to show my temporary axes here so that I can see the middle of that pin. So I'm going to mate that axis, standard mate, and I'll make that coincident with the axis of the pin itself. And I'll do another advanced mate. Of the width, and I'll center the face of this C-clip, so the 2 sides of the C-clip I will center in the slot of the pin. Actually, you know, that makes it a little bit of a collision, so let's not do that. I'm going to abort that mate, and all that I'm going to do is I'm just going to mate the face of the C-clip to the outside edge. Of the pin slot right here. So let's just do a simple mate. And I actually want that face right there. And you'll see it snaps into place. I'll have to lock the rotation on this by showing some planes. So I need to get out of my mate window, view the planes. And I just need a plane that's perpendicular. And I need a plane in the pin, which is perpendicular. View those 2 planes. And now I'll make these planes mate to lock my rotation. Okay, I've got the clip on one side, so now what I'm going to go ahead and do, and you'll see that it's fully constrained, is I will right click, copy with mates, and it's going to ask me, first of all, what do I want to make it coincident with? Which axes do I want to make it coincidence with? That will be this axis. Second coincident point will be what face. The inside edge there. Third will be that plane. And now my two clips are fully constrained. Well, I should have a fully defined model. It looks like I do. I didn't put a range of motion in the handle. I may show you in class how we can do that and make it give it a more lifelike animation. But for right now, this is your button maker. Now the next thing we're going to do on this is we want to make an exploded view. So that's very straightforward. We've done this before, so we'll click on our configuration, and then we're going to come on down here and make an exploded view. So exploded view tab. What I want to be sure is I don't want to have select subassembly parts because I don't want to blow it all apart at once. I just want to click on a single subassembly and start to pull it apart. So here, pull my handle up, pull that up a little more. Pull my upper die assembly up. I had too many things selected there, so let me delete that step. Where's my upper die assembly? Pull that up. I'm going to actually pull my base down. And I'm going to pull my lower die subassembly out. So there's my exploded view. Pop my pin out. Make sure to pop the clips off of my pin. Pull that clip off. That clip. And pop my pin out the other way. There's my exploded view. Accept that. And I did notice that I just missed one thing here, so let me go back to my model, and I forgot to put in the bolts on the top, or the nuts on the top. Those are item 2, number 903, so I'll insert those components real quick. Browse. Put 902 in, and I want to view this so that it's in its standard configuration. So there it is, standard configuration. I'm going to pull this down to its limited range of motion here. Turn off my temporary axes, turn off my planes, do a quick mate. And what I'm going to mate is shaft of that bolt, or that nut to the shaft right here. Maybe. There we go. Concentric is what I want. Lock the rotation. Accept that, and then I'm just going to mate this nut as if it goes all the way on there. So I'm going to go ahead and pick this inside edge right there and mate that so that's flush with the top of the nut, or top of the bolt. And actually, it doesn't look like I can do that. So I'm just going to put the bolt on a 1/4 inch or so from the top. So here we go. Distance mate. Flip my dimension. And we'll call it a 1/4 inch on. Accept that. And I'm going to do another copy with mates. Next tab, it's going to ask me what do I want to put it around and what do I want to measure the distance off of, and I'm going to round that shaft, and I'm measuring the distance off the top of, I would just use that surface. And there it is. So the bolts are even. So I got a limited range of motion in there. Let me get rid of that actually. It's got a limited range of motion. This does slide up and down. You can see that for your button press. Okay. That is pretty much the way that the thing works. And we've got an exploded V made. Thanks for watching.